Hi, it's Amanda the Nail Polish Hound, and welcome to this video where I'm going to show you my Model's Own nail polish collection. Model's Own went out of business a few years ago, but you can still sometimes find these for sale online or in discounted shops, so it's worth having a look out if there's something you fancy. The first ones I have are 4 of the Speckled egg collection. I did have the 5th one as well. It was a yellow colour which didn't suit my complexion, so I have already destashed this one, and I can tell you straight away that none of these ones will be being destashed. The first one is Magpie, and this is a lovely green colour with all those little black speckles in of different sizes. And what started my obsession with this particular collection was when lovely Nika of Nika's Naughty Nails sent me this homemade dragon egg using Magpie. Next one I have is Swan, and it's the lilac of the collection. Again, it has that same glitter mix within it that gives that speckled egg appearance. I love how fine the speckles are in this range of polishes, and they do look beautiful on the nails. Next up we have Duck, and this is the pale blue of the series, and you've seen this one a few times on my channel because my original bottle came broken and I had to decant it into another empty bottle to save the polish. Then we found a bottle of it just recently, so I have got the original bottle again. And finally we've got Dove, and Dove is the pink of the collection, and this one again exactly that same glitter mix in it. Very pretty. I wore this one earlier this summer. So all of those will be staying firmly in my collection. And in this mani you can see Duck on my index finger, Dove on my ring finger, and Swan on my little finger. I have a couple of random Model's Own polishes, and the first one is this blue from their Hypergel range. It's called Bermuda Blue. When I compare all of my polishes next year, if I've got some dupes, we might find this one leaving, but for now it's staying in my collection. Then we have Banana Split, and this one was given to me by Claire and is one of the few yellows that actually suits my skin tone, so I'm definitely going to be keeping this one. Then I have a couple of toppers by Model's Own. The first one is Shine Bright, and this was recently sent to me by lovely Louise Loopy Frog Nails. This one is as yet untried, so I might have to do a tricky toppers video with this one just to work out what colours I like it best over. And the other one I have is Indian Ocean, and those of you who've been watching my Project Polish will have seen the mini version I have of this being panned this year, and it is so pretty. I fell in love with it that I managed to pick up a full-size bottle of it to replace the mini that I'm using up currently. And here it is over the top of Ada's Nails Kirsty. And this is the manicure that I have on my nails in this video. The rest of the Model's Own polishes that I have are from their Chrome collection. I picked up 10 of them in a box online. I think there was more than 10 of these in total, but these were the ones that I got in the box that I purchased. And the main reason that I picked these up is because at the time everyone was going on about what amazing stamping polishes they were. So I did buy these mainly for their stamping credentials. But I haven't used many of them at all, and they've been sitting in my drawer unloved. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to swatch them all, and then I'm going to see how good they are at stamping, and then I will be deciding from there which ones I keep and if I'm going to destash any. So the first one on the bottle actually says it is chrome red, but I saw a couple of people talking about the fact that some of the labels on these bottles seem to be incorrect. I'm wondering if this one is actually correctly labelled. It doesn't look very red to me. These types of polishes will be a little bit brush strokey just because of the finish, but for that type of finish they're not too bad. So that's one coat of what is called chrome red. And then I'm going to be using this CAD's Geometry 16 plate to test all of these polishes, and I have pre-prepared a swatch wheel with white, grey and black on them so I can see how well it looks over all of those colours. I can confirm that these did all pick up really well. It's just how difficult it is to transfer them to the swatch wheel that makes some of them look worse. So the next one we have has got a label on it that says Crème Cerise, but the actual bottle itself is more of a dark red colour. So I'm wondering if these two polishes have actually got each other's labels on them. I do love these bottles, they look incredibly pretty, but they also show up all the fingerprints, so they're a bit of a pain from that point of view. Same sort of formula on it, it goes on quite easily, just a tiny bit brushstrokey, but not too bad. And here's this one being used for stamping. Again, it's picked up really well, but just a bit difficult to transfer onto the swatch wheel. So as you can see, this one also shows up really quite well on all three of the colours. The next one is Chrome Gold. And this one was a little bit more sheer than the others and a little bit more brushstrokey. I did have to apply a second coat for this one to be fully opaque. Then here it is being used for stamping. Again, it transferred quite nicely to the stamper. And despite being less opaque than the first two, it also transferred well onto the swatch wheel and showed up on the white, the grey and the black equally well. Next one I have is Chrome Copper. I actually thought that this was going to be quite a bit darker than it is. As you can see, it's quite a pale colour, and again a little bit more sheer than the first two were. So I did use 2 coats for this one as well. Still goes on nice and easily though, and is perhaps a little less brushstrokey than all of the others so far. Also picked up nicely on the stamping there. And transferred well onto the swatch wheel, showing up on all 3 of those colours again. The next one I had is called Chrome Rose, and the bottle for this one looks a little bit darker than the copper one. And I imagined that this one would be a little darker and a bit more pink in colour. It is perhaps a touch darker than the last one, still a little bit sheer and a little bit more brushstrokey, this one. And here we are with the stamping. Again, as with all of these, the transfer to the stamper was really good. And it also transferred well to the swatch wheel and showed up again on the white, the grey and the black. The next one I had was Chrome Silver, and this one was a little bit disappointing. It's not as shiny as I would expect for a Chrome Silver, but it has a reasonable formula, a little bit sheer and a little bit brushstrokey, but not too bad. So again, here we are with the stamping. And going to sound like a broken record, but again it did transfer well onto the stamper, although I didn't quite scrape it well enough. That's user error, not the fault of the polish. It did transfer well to the swatch wheel as well, and did show up nicely on the white, the grey and on the black. The next one I have is called Chrome Grey, but when you see it swatched you'll see it's much more of a lavender colour than it is a grey. So again, not sure if this one has the wrong label on it. but I have seen at least one other person who had this colour with the label grey on it too. Has a really good formula, this one goes on very easily. A little bit brush strokey, but not bad. And here we go with the stamping test. Trying to make sure I get all of the excess off this time. I think I over scraped this one because it didn't transfer quite so well to the stamper, but again, I think that was probably user error because most of it did come out reasonably well, and again it shows up over white, grey and black. The next one is called Chrome Turquoise, and this one is actually a colour that vaguely resembles the name. I really like the colour of the bottle on this one, very, very pretty indeed. The actual polish is a little bit more blue than turquoise, but when you compare it to a later blue, you can see that it's got a bit more of a green colour to it. It went on really well on the swatch wheel, and this one is reasonably opaque. Here's the stamping test for this one. I'm going to stop saying now that they transfer well to the stamper because they all did, so you can take that for granted. And here it is being transferred to the swatch wheel, and you can see that this one also shows up over the white, the grey and the black quite nicely. And then the next one we have is called Chrome Indigo. So I was expecting a bit more of a darker purpley blue for this one. And I think it's reasonably colour accurate to the description of it. Perhaps a little lighter than I would have expected, but not too bad. And then here we are with the stamping test. And as you can see, again, transferring nicely onto the swatch wheel. And again, showing up over the white, the grey and the black equally well. I do like this one. I think it's very pretty for stamping. I don't think I would wear it as a manicure, but that's probably the case for most of these. Last we've got Chrome Mauve, and this one looks like it's, from the bottle at least, like it might be quite pink. But then when you swatch it, it's probably more of a dark lilac. So either that or a purple, not sure about a mauve. Again, transferring that onto the swatch wheel, and it transfers well and shows up over the white, the grey and over the black. So as I was filming this, I was thinking I think I've got some dupes in my collection. So the first one I reached for was Gone Platinum by Sinful Colours, and I've kept this one because it does stamp so well. So I know this one's a good stamper. Just as good pickup. A little bit of an easier transfer onto the swatch stick this time because we've not got the other nails in the way from the swatch wheel. And as you can see, this one does pick up and transfer beautifully. So doing a direct comparison there, you can see that they're not quite the same, with Gone Platinum being just a little bit more pink toned, which I think suits me a bit better. Then comparing the stamping, I think they both stamped equally well. Allowing for the difficulty in transferring the image over to the swatch wheel. The next one that I thought of was my favourite silver stamping polish. This is the Foil Effects by Barry M. Long since discontinued, but I do have a backup of this. And this is my go-to silver stamping polish, so I know that this one does work very well indeed. There you go. You can see how well that one does transfer, and again it shows up on the white, the grey and the black equally well. So comparing them on the nail, there's not a lot of difference. And with the stamping, I think it's just a little bit more opaque with the Barry M. And finally, for this little dupes comparison, we've got Gold Foil Effect from Barry M, and this is my go-to gold stamping polish if I want a lighter gold colour. And again, I know that this one does stamp very well indeed, so this is more so that I can show you the comparison on the swatch stick than it is for my own benefit. And here it is being transferred onto the swatch stick. And it's lovely and clear, and it shows up really well on the white, the grey and the black. So doing a comparison with the Model's Own, I think the gold is a little bit more yellow and rich in the Barry M. I don't think I'd wear either of these as a manicure and only use them for stamping. Then I needed to decide if I'm going to destash any, so a quick look through them all. The so-called chrome red looks really pretty on my skin tone. The so-called cerise looks fine on my skin tone as well, but I think I've got another polish of this colour. The gold doesn't really suit me, but as I already said, I don't think I would wear this as a manicure. The chrome does look quite pretty against my skin tone. I might actually wear this one. And the chrome rose also not too bad, although a little bit darker, makes me look a bit washed out. Then we have the chrome silver, which again I wouldn't wear as a manicure on its own. Then we have the chrome grey, which I really do like this lavender colour. And then the chrome turquoise, which again is very pretty. I think I would wear this one. Then we have the chrome indigo, which is also very pretty. And then the chrome mauve, but we've already seen that that one's very similar to the Simple Colours polish that I have. So I've decided that I am going to destash the silver, the gold and the mauve because I prefer the other polishes that I have. And I'm also going to destash two others. The one that is called cerise, which is quite similar to the red, but I prefer the one that was called red, the slightly lighter one. Out of chrome copper and chrome rose, I preferred the copper finish, and they're so similar that I don't think I need both. So I'm going to be destashing those 5 from my collection. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a like and subscribe, and I hope I will see you in the next one.